Okay, short NQ, chasing this trade, but nonetheless, I've gotten short on it, and I'm gonna place my stop real quick, and okay, I'm gonna change this chart. Went short here on ES and ended up covering around this area here, and now I'm short NQ. I'm gonna change this chart so we can see. Okay, here we go. We have NQ on the chart now, and this is NQ as well. Here, the dome's showing NQ. So, got short around this area here. In the morning, I should have gotten short on NQ. Instead, I decided to short ES, and I didn't make as much on the trade because NQ, in hindsight, moved a lot bit more than ES did. So now we're looking for a test and a break of these lows here. So stop is around this area here. Hard stops on the dome, and it's just a matter of I'm gonna wait at least at minimum for a test of these lows before I even thinking about taking profits, because I want to see price move beyond those lows. So I'll pause the video so we don't all get bored watching this. I'll sacrifice and watch this price action for you, but against entry prices here, stops on the dome, so I'll probably move that stop. I'm gonna move it actually lower to, doesn't need to be that high anymore. 322.50 is fine. So hard stop is adjusted, entry price is there. It's just going to pause the video, and once we start testing this low, I'll go ahead and restart the video again. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I mean, this is the trade we got in around this area, and Q is around this area here. And what I'm thinking is, if you've been watching the markets for the past several days, first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit some of my positions here, because, and I'll explain why. First, uh, and now I'll explain everything, exact the reason why I did that. Normally, and as I stated, once the video once this trade was initiated, that I'm not even going to think about profits until we test this area. It's around, it's a few minutes before 12, so we still can get a quick move, but I just don't want price to go up here. I want to lock in some of this profit. When there's a few things. First of all, volume has decreased dramatically from this point forward. It's Monday, and there's really, and here we go. Now, normally we're gonna get that move before 12 o'clock if we're gonna do anything, and so now finally the volume came in. And that's fine. I'm happy that I got out, and the reason for it is because I wanted to lock in some profits. But this is what I want to explain. Monday, there's really nothing on the economic calendar. Volume started tapering off. So, and the major thing is that between the E-minis, there's a lot of divergences going on. So, when you have situations like that, low volume, a lot of divergences, in other words, YM's for the past week has been very stubborn. It wants to go up while NQ wants to go on down. So in situations like that, you're gonna get, once volume tapers off and we start heading into 12 o'clock doldrums, in other words, the slow periods, and volume tapers off, price action begins to pretty much just oscillate back and forth, and it doesn't have any directions. Now that's true if we don't, make a major move before 12 o'clock. And notice that this move is starting right before 12. So right now it's around 1 minute before 12, and now we're testing this low. And so the test of this low, we're going to see if, if we can push through here, or if we're going to simply just bounce back up again. So it's a matter of how we do on this test, whether I'm going to cover the rest of my position or not. Today, while we're waiting for this, I basically did two trades. And both of them were short, and one was an ES and one was an NQ. The NQ one we saw here. The ES one was around sometime around this area, sometime just a little bit before 10 o'clock. The market looked weak from our analysis based on the methods we use. Uh, Strategies I used were basically Apex Q strategies, uh, as usual. So now it's just a matter of, you can see again, we're approaching this low and there's no volume coming into, there's no volume so far coming into the market. And again, like I said about low volume, relative volume ratio is very low. We're not getting any volume spikes on the volume histogram. Volume index is pretty much, it's more bearish than it is bullish here. You can see the volume index is below its volume weight, and so it's just a matter of if a volume spike doesn't come in here to take out this low, we're just going to bounce back again. And in a situation like that, this trade is going. In a situation like that, it'll convince me to close this trade, particularly because I have an appointment to get to, have to talk with my accountant. So in a situation like this, it doesn't look very hot, so I'm not even going to bother asking one of the guys in the office to manage this, watch this trade, and just give him instructions. I'm just going to close it out if within the next couple of minutes I don't see any high volume coming in here. I'll just close the trade. Okay, now I'm more convinced about holding this for a little bit of an additional, even though we're not getting the high volume. I'm seeing technical reasons that we discuss to clients, that I'm seeing technical reasons why it is. We still need to clear this low here, but even though high volume's not coming in, that we're going to try to push lower. So let's give it a few more minutes. Just it's trading tends to be like that. You're analyzing the market as every few minutes and making decisions and adjusting to it. So now I'm seeing technical reasons that would justify holding on just a little bit longer. Mark this bar so we remember it as the price chart unfolds, which part, in case I continue the video for a lengthy period of time, so we remember where this commentary was for those of you who are watching this. For example, if YM was not diverging so much with the other E-minis, uh, these trades should have dropped. In other words, really, we should have had a nice break early in the morning, even though there's really no news or any kind of economic event scheduled. Still, for technical reasons, we should have braked a lot harder earlier in the day. But a lot of it is because of YM and diverging with the rest of the E-minis. So we're attempting this push lower. Still, we still want to see ES and YM move as well. Which so far they're not really budging. Again, we're getting into the 12 o'clock and I'm just trying to squeeze as much as I can from this trade as possible. ES and YM don't move, then NQ is going to eventually bounce back, unless at least if ES would move with it, then we would be in better shape, which it's beginning to move now a little bit. See the hammer trying to form here? It's because of the divergences that I'm talking about. This hammer is trying to hammer out this bottom here. Again, YM is getting stuck at where it found support earlier. Um, so we're getting some volume now. We were trying to hammer out that bottom, but now we're getting some volume. Still, again, we're still trying to hammer out that low. This is why if you use candlestick for your analysis, honestly, even if you're using open, high, low, close bars, if you can see the candle body on those as well because it shows the open and close. That's what's so important if you're using these type of charts to wait for the close of a bar, because if you ever see long hammers or long shadows, either inverted or just a long hammer or inverted hammer, at one point it was one big bar that looked like a really strong up bar or down bar, and then everybody goes short prior to it closing, and as soon as they go short, for example, then it turns into a bullish hammer, and so they're stuck basically holding their position. So this is looking like the probabilities of this trade basically, in other words, this low holding is looking higher and higher. So I'm going to close my position, especially because I've had two good trades. I've caught basically the major moves of today, the two down moves today, and I have an appointment, so I want to get to that and go ahead and close this trade now. Now, a lot of times when I do that, the market continues moving lower, which is fine. You know, you can't second guess your. If you end up second guessing every move or every decision you make all the time and then worry about it and regret it all the time, that's what your focus will end up being. And so you're focused negatively. Basically, you're criticizing every single decision you're making, which is going to cause you to continuously make mistakes. So when you make your decisions, don't criticize yourself too much, but if there's something to learn from it, then learn from it and make those adjustments and expand as a trader. But don't get into the habit of, oh, the market, you get out and the market moves away and you begin criticizing yourself, and in other words, you're going to be focused negatively, which is going to show in your trading eventually. Okay, I'll end this video now.